Good morning. This on the eve of Rosh Hashanah, our last day to get ready for the Hachtaras HaMelech, the crowning of the king, and Yom Hadin, the day of judgment, as we learned about last night in our Torah studies class. So we continue in our mimer to appreciate the idea that coronating Hashem as king, we do it with a physical object, a ram's horn. We explained yesterday the different blasts of the shofar and their significance, and the fact that it's proclaiming God as our king, crowning him as king, even though seemingly it should be just a proclamation that we make, a dedication that we express in words, yet we do it with a physical object to blow blast from the shofar. And the reason is because God's kingdom is to be expressed in all of creation, including in inanimate objects. As the ram's horn, when it's cut off the ram, it is an inanimate object, and it too is part of the Hachzaras HaMelech, of the crowning of the king. Now, of course, inanimate objects, vegetation, animal kingdom, they cannot crown the king. Those who have freedom of choice have that capacity. So we have that. That's makes us unique. So excuse me. Trying to get over this cold before Rosh Hashanah. It's Hashem. Oh boy. So the fact that it comes down and expresses itself, such a lofty thing, crowning God as king in a physical object that we use. So this idea this is an idea of anything that's drawn down lower and lower and lower comes to a lower place is because it's rooted in a higher place. In a higher and more loftier place. And so the Alter Rebbe gives a metaphor of, excuse me, oi. He gives a metaphor of a very an abstract idea, an abstract wisdom that is like very lofty and like whoa. So to bring it down from that abstract, wondrous, wisdom, You need a metaphor. What happens when you make a metaphor for an idea? You contract the idea because you're bringing it down into, you know, a metaphor, an analogy. So it's contracting on the wonderment of the idea. At the same time, it's also clothing that idea in the metaphor, right? It has to be in the metaphor. It's clothed in there just in a hidden way, just as clothes conceal the person, conceal what's inside of the person, right? So likewise, the metaphor conceals that lofty idea in it. So here you have a very wondrous metaphor, and you bring it down into some other idea that is a very profound contraction, to so much so that it can even, you know, what's that metaphor got to do with the idea? That it's so removed from it, yet in it at the same time, clothed in it, concealed in it, is that wondrous wisdom. Oh, yeah. I'm very sorry. Okay. So now the revelation of Malchus, as we're speaking about building the divine kingdom, Malchus, royalty. The way it is, remember, it's one of the 7 divine emotive attributes. So it's revealed. Where does Malchus first get revealed? In the world of Atzilus, world of emanation, divine emanation. And that's through a symptom, contraction. And others, there's Atzilus is the world of emanation. That's where the divine attributes begin in that world. But there's beyond the emanation, the divine emanation is of God himself. So you get from God to a quality of God, an attribute of God, there's a huge contraction. Now, the light that comes from the sun is a contraction on the sun that contracts to a ray of light. Of course, we know that the ray of light has its source and where it comes from. Absolutely. Malchus also isn't just in the world of Atzilus, it goes down into creation, the world of Bria, Yitzira, and Asiya, the spiritual world and the physical world. So where it becomes now, it's always it's godliness revealing God. So when it goes down into, so it becomes its own identity, if you will. Even though it's a divine identity, because it's not emanation of God. It's now in the worlds of creation. So there, we would use the part of the divine then gets enclosed and concealed, hidden in that of creation. So getting back to a metaphor, when you hide inside the metaphor, the idea that the analogy is analogous to, it's completely there but hidden. So likewise, when the power of Malchus, divine royalty, goes into to create in the world of Biyah, Bria, Yitzir, and Asiya, enclosed in it is the power of the Ein Sof of Hashem, the limitlessness of Hashem, that gives it the power that it doesn't need to be defined by anything, has the power then to Oy, so now God's kingdom could be even in an inanimate object. My head's a little stuffed, so my brain's not working so great. Oh la la la. So much so that even the inanimate, as we say in the Rosh Hashanah davening, that every creation knows you're its creator. So even the stone knows that there's a creator that created it. That doesn't know it as we know things, but it knows it as an inanimate object. All right. Mitzvah Shem will have Chumash. It's very short today in Tanya. Later on, okay, and Ksivos.